meld in with the old style?
They
or-
are as much as possible,
Mhm,
but they're
without-
incorporating
You
more
got-
green
Did
space.
you recruit?
So luckily they have space to do that.
I'm gonna join you guys if you don't mind.
Please do, have a seat.
Thanks. Guess we've got an intimate group this morning.
Well, I'm sure we do.
Uh,
There was a lot less people today than there were yesterday.
Yeah, yeah. Give it a couple minutes. Yeah.
Hi, come on in.
Started.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Check it out. I think it's on.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Good.
Must be a house.
The whole building. This room is so cozy and so nice.
What was that?
This room is so cozy
Isn't it?
and nice, and I swear I stay here every day.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
room.
Yeah, these rooms in the middle school building are really nice,
Mhm.
especially as a upper level dorm styling.
Beautiful.
My name's Amanda.
Hi Amanda, I'm Julie.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
I work here at HBM in the marketing department.
We've had a fantastic time.
Oh, good, good.
Are you not being able to connect?
No, we're fine.
Oh, okay.
We're fine. We're just gonna give it a couple of extra minutes. Are people still
Because
floating
people
through?
were still transitioning.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, we're good.
And where are you guys from?
We're from Wheeling, West Virginia.
Oh, Reed, okay. Good, thanks for coming all this way.
Oh, it was a cruddy ride.
Yeah.
Rained the whole way.
Yeah, it rained.
Thursday.
Oh, yeah,
Today's nice though.
Mhm.
yeah, you're heading back?
Yeah,
today?
yeah, yeah.
Well, today you'll have a nice drive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful.
What did it take, about three and a half hours?
Just
A little under 3, I think. It's
Okay.
usually about 3 to get into the city,
Mm-hmm.
so a little less, but, yeah, so not too bad. It's basically hit 77 and take it the whole way down to Cambridge.
Very good.
Yeah, it was colder than I thought it was gonna be last night.
Yeah,
I'm like-
yeah.
Then I got immediately used to that
Nice.
upper
nice
60s,
warm,
you know, weather, so.
Yeah.
It's not over either. We're all gonna be spoiled and we're all gonna think
Yeah.
it's gonna be in the 50s and 60s from here on out,
Yeah.
but it's not.
Yeah, already one of the local weather people here said, yeah, it feels like an early spring now, but she's like, I can almost guarantee we'll have at least one more like
Big
random snowstorm.
Yeah.
or- Yeah.
I know, I remember it definitely snowed on my birthday, April 27th.
Yes,
I-
yes, absolutely.
absolutely.
That's what I say, cause we had a freak snowstorm maybe 8 or 9 years ago at the very end of April. So
Mhm.
after that, I'm like, okay, I just moved the ticker, you know, so now we're not
Yeah.
safe until the first week of May.
That's what I say too. I say May 1st.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
spring.
exactly,
Yeah,
yes.
my birthday's on March 21st.
Oh,
which is
yeah.
like, I occasionally the first day of spring.
You're a
And I-
birthday person this year too.
Yeah, I always used to laugh and be like, okay, it's springtime. My dad would be like, well, your mom's birthday is in late April, so usually after that I start gearing up for it. You got another month.
I don't even count on summer until July now,
Yeah, absolutely.
and you don't count on fall
Except
until November.
Last June was like hot and dry, or no, was that last June was, it rained like 21 out of the 30 days.
That
or
was
something
2
like
summers
that.
ago, wasn't it?
That
Or
was
it just-
last summer here.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, I think that was
Rain
last
all
summer,
of
because
June.
I think the year before
Yeah.
it was like a drought during June or something, or whatever it was. It's like,
And I remember the year before that, it was cool in August. We were not here anyways. 'cause-
And then the first day of school, it got super duper hot.
Yeah.
Super duper hot, but it was cool all through
yes,
August.
it's, you never know.
Yeah, we're fine, it's just
Yeah.
asleep,
Okay, all right.
like many of us, asleep.
At least the sun's out, right?
Yeah, right.
I'm
That
excited.
helps on a Saturday. Mhm. And where did you come in from?
Hawaii.
It's
Oh, wow.
disgusting, isn't it? It's awful.
You're dressed appropriately.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that coat from? Did you buy it for the trip?
No, I actually had it. We, traveled to Japan.
Do you travel?
The other, yeah,
Oh,
so I had it.
wow. Oh, nice. Oh, neat.
I was gonna say.
Hello.
Hi, come on in. We could actually,
Well, welcome.
this goes until
Thank you.
12:15,
No,
right?
it's-
Because that's when lunch is, 12:15?
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay, we can go ahead and get started.
It's pretty tame.
Yeah.
It's small.
We did like 7 signups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, watching the first presentation, I thought, oh, wow, she was from
Okay.
Hawaii school.
Yeah.
Is that where you are too?
Yes.
At-
Yeah.
Punchbowl? Yeah. Oh, that's neat.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'd just like to say a disclaimer, I did not wear black and gold today. Steeler colors, just because I was in Cleveland. These pants are just the best to drive home in, so I apologize for my Steeler colors. I don't mean to be offensive to anybody.
Any true Clevelander, at least in my opinion, and I am a true Clevelander, will tell you that there has been no, it's been no contest for so long.
It doesn't even matter
I
anymore.
don't even consider it a rivalry anymore. There's nothing that we offer, but go on.
Well, thank you so much for my
No
black and
offense
gold.
taken.
My name is Julie Cartwright. I am Director of Operations at Wheeling Country Day School, and this is Luke Holatic. We wear many hats. Myself, I'm Director of Operations. I'm also one of the school chefs, and I teach a healthy cooking class to our 4-year-old students, and I oversee the curriculum for our Kids in the Kitchen program, kindergarten through 5th, 6th grade, and I also teach yoga to our 6th grade students who are in our Center for Multisensory Learning.
Yeah, so I came on as a school intern 6 years ago, and then was there for a couple of years, left and went to public school for 2 years, and then have been back now. This is my 2nd year back. So now, since I've come back, I'm the 4th and 5th grade science and social studies teacher, the summer and after school program director, and technology-ish director, de facto technology director. So we both of us especially wear a bunch of hats, but everybody kind of does at the school. We try to utilize as many of our skill sets as possible. So we've tried to start implementing that into some of this stuff, and it kind of carries into the theme of what we're doing.
What we're presenting today. So today we're going to talk about connecting our summer camp program and how we transitioned our summer camp program into actually our school year. Just to give you a little background on Wheeling Country Day, we do have a We Too program, but we are, come on in please. We are a 3-year-old preschool program up through our 5th grade. We have 180 students. And then we do have a program, we have a Center for Multisensory Learning at Wheeling Country Day School that is an immersion program for students with visual and auditory processing disorders. And we have 2 students in the 6th grade in that program. But we have 180 students, our 3rd through 5th graders. We were founded in 1929. So we have a long history in Wheeling, West Virginia. There are only 2 independent schools in West Virginia, one being Wheeling Country Day School. The other one happens to be across the street. It's the Lindsley School. It's a 5th through 12th grade school. It's a boarding and day school. So we're kind of right next to one another, but we're the 2 only independent schools that are non-religiously affiliated in the
And you
state.
go through 5th and they start in 5th?
Yes,
Okay.
we go through 5th and they start in the 5th.
Okay.
So that's the one kind of part that can be a little bit contentious, I suppose,
Yeah.
or be a little bit of a competition.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's a pretty decent partnership and pretty decent transition. A lot of our students tend to go there, as much as we don't like to say it's a feeder school. A lot of our students end up kind of going across the street. Not all of them, they kind of spread out, but there's a good chunk that end up going over there as well.
I'm very fortunate, I also work there in the assistant director of boarding, so it's great. I have all of my elementary kids during the day, and then I get my big girls in the evening. So that's just a little bit about our school. And we're going to talk now about the summer camp, our summer camp program and how it evolved.
So when I came on as an intern, I had just moved back from New York, where I was working in a summer camp out of college, and so I'd been there for about a year and came back with a bunch of different ideas, because originally their summer camp program was basically a foreign language camp. So they had a Japanese program, a French program, and an Italian program, and that ran the entire summer. It was mostly developed in order to kind of house some students, or not house, but as kind of, not daycare, but watching these students while their parents were working. We have a lot of working parents in the school, so they needed some extra childcare. So that was basically what happened, a little bit of extra money for some of the teachers. So when I came back, one of the things I came back with was to develop a diverse group of programming for our students. So we came back with athletic things, with artistic programming, with foreign language still, and then transition that from these specified programs into a free play in the afternoon. So Wheeling's a fairly traditional town, and it's from a pretty conservative area. So a lot of parents were really looking for that throwback of being able to ride their bikes a couple miles to a friend's house and stay there until the street lights come on and come back. So it's how a lot of us grew up and how I ended up growing up. But very quickly after I got into college or into my adulthood, that sort of faded away pretty quickly. And it's very compartmentalized, and it's very exclusive in a lot of pockets of the area. So what I wanted to do was bring that back and kind of have boundaries within our campus. We have a campus style of school, so we don't have a single schoolhouse that houses everything. We have about 2 classrooms per building, and we have an upper campus quad, a lower campus quad, an amphitheater, gym, and a huge playground and field. We also have access to a small stream that you can easily cross, and the kids can be in and out of the stream constantly. So that was another big push, that we're going to be wet and dirty constantly. So that was a big push for all the kids. And then across the field, across the stream, there's another football-sized field that we have access to that is semi-private property, I suppose. It's within a trust, and the school's a part of that trust, so we're able to access that, which is in Wheeling pretty rare to be able to have full access to a big field like that. It's in high demand. So we wanted to start accessing all these points that we have and kind of give people free reign as far as, here's your boundary, but you can pretty much figure out what you want to do. So from 9 to 12, we developed the specified programs, really diverse programs, started pulling in community leaders from around Wheeling and outside of Wheeling. So we have symphony leaders, we have artists from around, we have musicians, we have athletic leaders, we have student volunteers from a handful of different colleges we've started cultivating relationships with. I coach soccer at the local high school, so I had a lot of soccer players come down and donate time for different scholarships and things like that, and plus to get out of some sprints for me occasionally. So we were able to staff on a shoestring budget pretty much and create this wide array of programming.
One of the reasons Luke went into a completely wide array of programming is because I'm sure in your communities you also compete with other programs, summer programs that get a lot of the kids. And we really wanted to focus on not just having Wheeling Country Day students, but getting kids in our community on our campus. So there were already summer camp programs, and we thought, how can we be different? What can we do different that other camps aren't doing? And when Luke really took a look at it and talked to all of us about it, it became, we already do great things at our school. Why don't we just do some of the great experiential learning and turn them into summer camps? Because that's completely different than what other summer camps are doing. that it's based on going swimming, playing kickball, because we don't have access to a pool, and it's probably one of the things that we kind of tread lightly on, the fact that we don't take our children swimming, but we do have the creek.
Yeah, one of the things that I pushed from coming back, I'm from Wheeling, I was born and raised there, and I ran around in that, right around the school my whole life, so I have a lot of friends that lived in and around our campus, and I literally had no idea where it was. I'd heard the name Wheeling Country Day School, I knew a couple people that went there that I went to high school with, and until the day I interviewed and showed up and kept walking up steps and kept walking past these quads and had to find the building for the office, I didn't know it was a campus. I thought the only sign I had really noticed was a big building had a large sign that said Wheeling Country Day School that I assumed was the schoolhouse, and it was the gym. So, I mean, I had been there and been around it a lot and didn't know where it was. So, taking that and kind of, you know, I'm a public school brat growing up, so it's been, you know, an easy transition to kind of recognize how exclusive it was at that point. And the kids, it was 10 to 12 kids a week. It really wasn't a large program. It wasn't making any profits or anything. Maybe breaking even. And so one of the big pushes, we said, let's go out into the community. Let's start putting signage. Let's start marketing to the community, marketing to community partners that we have and leaders within our kind of general web, and start bringing them in and start bringing more and more people in. So we've gone from 10 to 12 kids a week for the first year or so. The next year we upped it to about 20 a week, and the following year we started implementing the preschool programs, because initially it was 2 to 2nd, 5th grade or 1st to 5th grade. And when we went out and started surveying the community, one of the big needs in our area was preschool programming in the summertime. So there's very little. Our preschool programming in general is pretty low outside of our school, so it's a pretty high demand part of our school. So we started pushing that, and that has blown up. So now, to this point, this is 5 years later, this is my 6th year there, we've gone from 10 to 12 kids per week to about 100 to 120 per week. So it's really blown up and turned into our top profit driven thing that we do aside from tuition. So it's really has turned into a real benefit for us. But then at the same time, we give to various fundraisers and things like that. We offer scholarships for weeks so we can get as many people in from around the community as possible. And it's turning it into an inclusive atmosphere rather than exclusive. So I'm going to talk about how we've kind of turned it back inward to help our school as well.
So the model for summer camp is extremely popular. Our students love it. So that summer camp became a discussion on how can we turn the same experience that our students have in the summer, how can we bring it to the school year? Can we have that same level of learning and that hands-on experience during the school year? And I just want to show you a clip. I don't know how many of you watch Sir Ken Robinson's TED Talks. I find him extremely funny and humorous and delightful with a lot of great things to say. So this is a clip we watched as a fact. Well, we watched the whole thing, but this specific
One
section.
estimate in America currently is that something like 10% of kids getting on that way are being diagnosed with various conditions under the broad title of attention deficit disorder, ADHD. I'm not saying there's no such thing. I just don't believe it's an epidemic like this. If you sit kids down hour after hour doing low-grade clerical work, don't be surprised if they start to fidget. You know? Children are not, for the most part, suffering from a psychological condition. They're suffering from childhood. You know? And I know this because I spent my early life as a child. I went through a whole thing. Kids prosper best with a broad curriculum that celebrates their various talents, not just a small range of them. And by the way, the arts aren't just important because they improve math scores, they're important because they speak to parts of children's being which are otherwise untouched. The second... Um, the second principle that drives human life flourishing is curiosity. If you can light the spark of curiosity in a child, they will learn without any further assistance for it. Children are natural learners. It's a real achievement to put that particular ability out or to stifle it. Curiosity is the kind of engine of achievement. Now, the reason I say this is because one of the effects of the current culture here, if I can say so, has been to deprofessionalize teachers. There is no system in the world or any school in the country that's better than its teachers. Teachers are the lifeblood of the success of schools. But teaching is a creative profession. Teaching properly conceived is not a delivery system. You know, you're not there just to pass on received information. Great teachers do that. But what great teachers also do is mentor, stimulate, provoke, engage. You see, in the end, education.
So if you ever have a chance on the plane to download a TED Talk, I really recommend him. He's Sir Ken Robinson. He has several, and he's fantastic, and he's humorous and really engages a listener. So we watched that, and we're very fortunate to have a head of school that really is a diverse thinker and always critically coming up with new things and new ways that the faculty can be better. So why did we take the plunge? We watched that and we sat for a long time and we talked about that every child is different. We also did talk back to that curiosity is the engine that drives children and that human life is inherently creative. And those are all of the things that we capture during summer camp programming when we're doing Little Engineers and all of these great programs and these great summer camps. These were all of the three themes that kept coming up. And after, as a faculty, as we talked about that, we realized we need to try to get this into everyday learning or into an experience during the school year.
Right, so we started thinking about what's in it for the kids and what's in it for, why are we doing this? We try to start with why. I forget the guy whose name who wrote
Simon
that book.
Sinek.
Yeah, Simon Sinek. So we read this
Start with
book
why.
recently, and it's start with why. We really push this, and you know, so we started asking why. What are the things? Why are we looking at this? And you know, in that clip that Ken Robinson says that that variety of learning and the passion-driven learning, that the kids will take over that. And so, my first year of summer camp, I ran a MacBook, you know, Mac Attack summer camp, and I had 50 different things, and I had been planning for a week, and I went crazy, and I showed them how to manipulate a photo and how to create a slideshow. And I said, okay, we're going to do the next thing, and everybody freaked out. Like, no, I want to dive deep into this. And so what I started realizing is, it's, you know, I started allowing myself to not think I'm being lazy by not overburdening these kids with this surface level wide planning. So I allowed them to kind of guide me. So midway through the week, we kind of do a recap of what we've learned so far. What are they into? What do they want to learn? Do they want to go deeper? Do they want more things? And they really guide me, and it's one of the things that I push for the teachers to kind of recognize, because I think as a traditional teacher, you're much more ready to overplan so that you're not having that dead air. But with these types of passion-driven programming, it's going to allow the kids to kind of take the lead and push that. So they offer coaches and community leaders that they've interacted with for us to contact. And so now they already have these connections with them. We reach out to those people, and they're very willing to come on. And they're willing to come on either donating their time, volunteering their time, or at very little price to us. So it's been very nice to see that student-driven, kid-driven community connection, because it's really impressive to see what these kids have, who they've interacted with and who we can reach out to, and then now I have that common connection with that person, and we can work together to start filling that void. So we're looking at new learning experience, non-traditional learning experiences, so hands-on, a lot of experiential stuff, a lot of passion-driven things. We're building relationships not only with the students and us, but we're teaching students. I teach 4th and 5th primarily, but I'm also teaching preschool, kindergarten, first grade during these camps a lot of times, and vice versa. A lot of the preschool teachers who had these kids when they were 4 and 5 years old haven't seen them in 5 years. And so they show up later and they're seeing these kids who've kind of leapt on them, and they have this memory of these kids this tall, and now suddenly they're driving the curriculum. They're kind of pointing in that way. We're also unlocking new potential, not only for the kids to be passionate about this, but also just seeing what we can utilize. So rather than use a traditional classroom, we have this whole campus. We have I talk a lot about using all the senses on our campus. So listening and being present and being, getting your hands dirty, being dirty, running around, getting outside. We try to be outside as much as possible. And so we're trying to unlock the potential from our space. So we're not, it's very easy to go, oh, I wish I had this or I wish I had this, but to actually step out and start utilizing the stuff that we have, we wanted to kind of unlock that. Also making the connections inside the community, making it more of an inclusive space, like I mentioned before, rather than being so exclusive, which is the reputation that we've kind of fought against. We're trying to not necessarily rebrand, but sort of embrace that misconception around the city that it's kind of the rich kid's school. We want to embrace more people in it. We want to be in the community a little bit more. We actually, if anything, it's been the public schools that have pushed back kind of against us, which is ironic. But so then we also wanted to get into art and nature and music and technology and implementing these different things, as well as deep dives into core curriculums like science and literature, and also just constantly moving. A lot of movement within this. And so, like I said, that first half of the day is all curriculum driven. Second half of the day is all play and open-ended, experience driven.
So we know what would be in it for the student. What student doesn't want to go to their core classes in the morning, have lunch, and then really dive deep into something that they love. And we'll show you how we put that schedule together in some of those curriculums that we built. But all of you know, you also have to have your teachers buy into the idea of a week like this during the school year. So we did a lot of talking about it. We did a lot of dialogue, and these are emails that I pulled from the faculty after we watched and had our professional development day. We're a faculty that talks a lot. Unfortunately, sometimes it has to be through email, but someone will start something, and then it really snowballs, and usually most all of us will respond. But here are some of them. Every day I'm on a journey to enhance my own learning. It starts with me. I create the will to teach at my best in order to achieve the skills children need to learn. Teachers are as individuals as students, of course. It's been our advantage at our school that we are encouraged to be as creative as possible and do what works best. And this, I think, this is probably the one that was the most important. What's in it for me was all teachers and students have passions that are at times dormant but are ready to be awakened. Each one of us has a passion that we're really, really interested in. For me, it was yoga. I really, really, really enjoyed yoga. And this actually gave me the opportunity to teach yoga to students. And then it actually turned into the school sending me to become a certified yoga instructor. So, we asked each one of our teachers from this, what are you most passionate about? What would you like to share? And some of those things were from knitting, kayaking, yoga, what?
Bridge.
Bridge.
That's suddenly a random, really popular one.
At Wheeling Country Day
Teacher
is
likes
bridge.
to play bridge, and these 8-year-old kids go crazy for it. It's hilarious.
You would hit to the next slide.
Well, just to touch on this too, one more time, the passion-driven portion of this is so important, because when we say, okay, we have this week of new learning and non-traditional learning, it can feel very overwhelming. And even right now, we're finishing up our summer camp brochure for this summer, and we just got off of one of these weeks. We're gearing up for our big fundraising event at the school. We have all this stuff going on, and it's very difficult for a teacher to even conceptualize the fact that they have to think up, oh my God, I have a whole other week of programming.
We have another camp week coming up very soon.
Right. So, but again, what's interesting to me is how student-driven it is and can be. So these kids, they get signed up for Bridge initially, and they're like, there's a stop-motion camp, a soccer camp, a other technology camps, a science camp, and I got bridge, great. And then they come out of there and they're teaching all their friends bridge, and they're teaching all of us bridge. That I don't know how to play bridge, so they're showing me how to play it. I mean, it's really very fun to see them kind of take over and take ownership of it and step out into it. So that, and it's also, again, it's based on allowing them or empowering them to go into the community with their friends and work with them to just teach someone else something new and keep working on it. It's a big thing that we push is learn something new, and having them kind of take that over is really fun. And then on top of that, I'm trying to think the one that jumped out at me. So learning alongside of the students, so like enhancing our own learning. One of the things that, again, that I learned with that is, with this programming, is I'm allowed to learn alongside of them. I'm allowed to adjust the things that I'm doing and dive into questions that they have that I also have, and not be afraid of it. And so they've empowered me to say, okay, I'm gonna dive into this without an ending in sight and see where it can go, and they'll really push it. And granted, these are in limited time periods, but we're trying to implement them as much as possible with it throughout the school year in order to connect as many places as we can with our school, become more exclusive, but also kind of become more vulnerable within the classroom.
So all of those buy-ins from students that we felt would be important and teachers, the big concept was we could create a joyful love of learning. Not that we don't every day. We all hope that we're providing a joyful love of learning. But we could do this during a couple of weeks of the school year that were already weeks that were a little bit difficult for us. One of those weeks, and maybe your schools have them as well, is Student Appreciation Week, where we have our Parents Association are doing little fun things, and there's fun things sprinkled throughout that week on Student Appreciation Week that was kind of chaotic anyways. So we were able to take the chaos of Student Appreciation Week and turn it into a camp week, or what we call an experience week. So that worked really well. And the other week that we do it and that's a 4-day week. Another time we do it is also on another 4-day week during our, right before, kind of in the winter, right when we come back from a winter break, kind of in that February time where you're struggling so much as a professional and as a teacher, and you know how hard it is for you to drag yourself every day into the winter, except for when you're in Hawaii, the winter blues. As an adult, think how you feel. Think how a 5- and 6-year-old is feeling at that time too. It's difficult for them. So we picked those 2 weeks very specifically and very purposefully.
Yeah, and specifically with the February week, that's a week where it's still getting dark at 5:30 or so, and a lot of those kids are staying for aftercare until 4:30 or 5 o'clock. So they literally are getting to school at 7:30 sometimes, or before care in the dark, and leaving at dusk. And so to try to, and also Wheeling is Denver without the sunshine. So it's like, I think we get like 100 days of sunshine on average a year, where it's very like little London, where Denver has the same average temperature of us, but I think they have somewhere around 300 days of sunshine a year. So it's quite different, and at that point in the year, it is, that sad seasonal.
Tiring.
Yes, yeah. So it can be really drag on, and so to try to jumpstart everything and put a little bit of a jolt in it, and then start utilizing it and start getting outside anyway, even if it's cold, even if it's not the best weather, and we're spread all over the school, and there's just all this